Broadcasting live from the Norman P. Murray Community Center in the heart of beautiful Mission Viejo, it's Breakfast with Gary and Kelly, featuring special guest, saxman extraordinaire, Najee.
Morning, welcome to Breakfast with Gary and Kelly, everybody. Glad that you're here with us this morning. This is a very fun one today. Very fun one today.
Fun.
Exactly. By the way, hello Oslo. Hello Oslo.
Norway.
We're big in Oslo. Who knew? Who knew? Go figure, huh?
And he's Norwegian too.
Yamping. What? Did I break a nail?
My nail.
Sorry. Very. All right. Y'all have this in your collection?
Say yes.
You should. Not, you really should.
If not, I think we have some for sale, right?
Yeah, we do.
We do.
This is CD number 15 for our guest today. We're thrilled to have him here. He is two-time Grammy nominee. He's performed at the White House, played at the birthday party for Nelson Mandela, and we have got him here on our stage this morning.
And he was at the Bash last year, too.
Yes, he was.
He was at our KSBR birthday bash on our stage.
Exactly right. We're going to hear all about all that stuff. But he's going to play for us too. Please welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Najee. Brian.
Wow.
All right.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Stick around. We're going to take a break. Come back. We got Najee all hour here on Breakfast with Gary and Kelly. Nice. Welcome back to Breakfast with Gary and Kelly here. Najee. Look, it's Najee.
It's Najee.
How are you, man?
I'm doing great. Good.
I'm so
Thanks for
glad to
having
have
me
you.
here.
Oh, I'm so glad to have you. This is a great thing.
Special
I'm
treat.
honored. Thank
Look
you.
at the
so
crowd
much.
we got.
Yeah, some.
People love Najee, man. I'm telling you, look at, and you're doing double duty today. This is a long day for you. I know you were saying before you don't like musicians that whine.
That complain. I hate musicians that complain.
Oh,
I got to go do another gig. Really?
really?
In
What else?
America.
What else do you have? What else do you have going today?
The Long Beach Jazz Festival.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm playing
nice.
on there tonight. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, so
Okay.
should be a lot
Well,
of fun.
thank you for getting up so early and coming out to our little breakfast.
Oh, I'm honored to be here.
So,
Believe me.
how
Yeah, it's
exciting.
wonderful.
I have to tell you, I was really confused about where you permanently reside. I mean, you have a place here, or do you, or No.
Not anymore. I lived here for about 10 years, and now I reside in Florida. So
There you go.
Right outside of Disney area.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah, I moved there in 2001 and love it.
Yeah, but you're a New York guy.
I grew up in New York City, born and raised. I came from an area, well, I was born in Manhattan, in Greenwich Village. And when I was about 11 years old, we moved to Queens. So I always say I'm from Jamaica, Queens. Marcus Miller and I actually grew up in the same area. So,
Nothing like it.
Huh?
There's nothing like it.
Nothing like it, no.
Yeah, it's
Yes, sir.
amazing. I was actually just there. I had to go back last weekend and went Saturday through the 9/11 Memorial Museum.
Oh, I'm
which
so
is
sorry, yeah. It's
unbelievable.
beautiful, though. They did a great job.
Oh,
with
it's
it.
phenomenal.
They did,
It's
yeah.
phenomenal. Were you in the city? Did you live there when that happened?
I
or-
was actually here, and I was here the morning it happened. I
Yeah.
went back a few days when they allowed people to fly back. And, growing up in New York City, I can remember when the towers went up. You could actually, in my house in
Yeah.
Queens, in the attic where my room was, you could see, when they built the towers. So
Wow.
for the average New Yorker, for those who've been there, when you grow up seeing that, that's always going to be in your mind,
Oh,
even
yeah.
till this day, even though they built the Freedom Tower. You can never get out of your mind the two towers there.
Wow.
And back then, before, of course, years before that, there was a station called CD 101.9. Pat Prescott came from that station in New York, and we used to do concerts at the World Trade Center. Every summer they had a concert
Sweet.
series, and I was
Yeah.
part of that series back then.
Oh, how nice.
Yeah, yeah. I think Tony Guerrero and I played there too.
That's right,
Yeah.
yeah.
Crazy. When did you come out here?
Came out here, I want to say 96. I think it was 96. Well, actually, I was married. You know how it goes with us musicians. We meet the nice girl, we fall in love. She was from California, I was from New York, so of course I had to move to California. And ended up moving to the Bay Area. And then, when that all disbanded, we had two beautiful children who are grown now. I came down here to Southern California, so I lived here. And then I decided,
The music scene.
Yeah,
That's where it's at.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, what started your musical career? When did you
Oh, did I tell you that story earlier?
No, you haven't
Oh,
told me
oh,
anything.
Okay, I
That's
told
why-
somebody a story.
No, I want to know, when did it
Well,
all start for you? I mean,
Well, it started as a kid.
first of all, were
Yeah.
your parents musically inclined?
My father played violin, but not professionally.
Okay.
When I was in elementary school, I got exposed to the saxophone. Gentleman came to our school and he played, I'll never forget the song, Desafinado, which was, I think it was a Stan Getz song. And I was so impressed that he could play a song on the radio, right? But I loved the sound of the saxophone. And then when I got in junior high school, I began playing clarinet. Only because the saxophone chairs were taken. And back
The
then,
chairs?
Yeah, meaning that,
There's no place to sit.
Well, they put me in with the girls, which ultimately was not so bad.
Clarinet, I took the clarinet in 8th grade.
Exactly.
Yeah, I remember that.
So my teacher, he said, listen, you play clarinet, you can always switch to saxophone, and that's what I did.
Okay.
But I had love for aviation. So when high school came, I went to an aviation high school, which was called August Martin High School in Jamaica, Queens, New York. But one event that happened, which was a life-changing event for me, true story.
Tell me.
I was playing in the high school band, and took my first solo, and after that solo, all the girls knew my name. Career change right away. That was it.
Wow. Now,
True story.
is your name really Najee?
That's my middle name, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So did you go
I'm
by?
not going to tell you my first name because anybody put Najee and it's going to come up, so I'm not even going to embarrass myself. But Najee is my middle name, and you know, when my career first started in the late 80s, you know, that was when the one name thing, Kenny G dropped Gorlick. And,
Yeah, right,
Kenny G,
exactly.
Sade, you know,
Yeah.
and then they were, the record company's like, Najee, you know.
That's awesome.
That's how it's been.
So you're just Najee.
That sounds sexy.
Sounds like
You sound good saying it.
Najee.
Don't she?
French. It sounds a little French.
Oh, I like that.
Oui, oui, Najee.
There you go again, man. That sax thing is still working for you, ain't it?
Hey,
I want to just say oui, oui, Najee.
hey.
That's good.
Yes.
That's good. Right. So when you started playing, well, I told you I'm going to pretend I don't know anything about you. So when you started playing the saxophone and you were in high school,
Yes.
What made you decide to make this a career?
Well,
Was it that changing thing with the girl thing?
No,
or-
no,
There's got to
actually-
be more to it.
well, actually, I was in a band, an R&B
Okay.
band, and we started playing little gigs around the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And one gig in particular in my neighborhood, the health department of New York City was promoting condoms.
I knew I was going to get a good story.
True
Well,
story.
that's a hell of a gig right there.
Yeah, I'm telling you. So you know, we're in this
I'm trying to
thing.
picture the poster for that show.
Well, you should have seen how we feel. We didn't even show you how naive we were. We go in there and we thought there were balloons on the wall. They had blew up condoms all over the wall, right? But I'll never forget, here I am, 15-year-old kid, and I made $40 for that gig. That was a lot of money for a kid back
Wow.
then. I was like, oh man, you can get girls and you can make money too. This
And
is
get free
wonderful.
And
condoms.
get free condoms. Exactly.
True story though. But all throughout high school, I played in local bands. That was my pastime. That's what we did. We played
Yeah.
in bands and we competed with each other. There was Battle of the Bands back then
Oh,
in New
sure.
York. And then I had a summer job where we would actually go around the city in different boroughs and put on shows in the summertime. We
Okay.
made money from the city of New York doing this stuff. And it just evolved. And then after high school, I went on my first world tour for the USO.
Oh.
Playing all around the world.
Right out of
Yeah,
high school?
Right out of high school. I was in a band called Area Code. That was the name of the band. And we were a funk R&B band.
Sweet.
So we went on the road. We toured all over Europe, Latin America, parts of Asia.
To the troops and everything.
Right, to the troops.
Did you at that point have any expectation that you would get booked, that band would get booked for anything like that? Or I mean, yeah, clearly, if you did, I mean, you had been winning a lot of those battles of the bands, right?
Right. Well, you know, it was just one of those things that just fell out. We actually
Yeah.
went out backing up Miss Black America at the time.
Yeah.
And she was a singer, songwriter, a whole bit, dancer, and we went out backing her up. And our first gig was in Frankfurt, Germany.
And you got paid for this.
We got, well, you know,
Somewhat. But you got a free trip to
I
go all
think we
over the
might have
place.
made $100 a week or something back
But
then.
still going on the road.
So it was a full lesson in the music
It
business.
was,
yeah,
but
right?
you know what? For a kid, 18 years old, that was a lot of money
Oh
for me.
yeah,
So,
plus
you know,
seeing the world.
seeing the world was really the most
Yeah.
important thing. It changed my life. And then I came back, went to school. I came back and went to Bronx Community College in New York in the music department under the legendary Valerie Capers.
Okay.
And then after a year of doing that, I decided to audition for New England Conservatory of Music to study with Joe Allard.
Ooh la la.
Who's taught John Coltrane, Michael Brecker, all these great saxophonists.
Yeah.
So, and then couldn't afford to go, quit. Then went on the road with Chaka Khan for, you know, and that was in, yeah, right. That was it. The Ain't Nobody tour.
Oh my
The
gosh.
rest was history.
So how did you go from Chaka Khan to actually writing music and producing CDs? Because this is what, number 15?
15, I
Yeah.
believe so,
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
So how did you just started writing songs and
Well,
said,
after Chaka's gig, Ain't Nobody tour, Ain't Nobody had a gig. So, I'm
Okay.
scrounging around New York City playing gigs. I mean, I'm playing keyboards as a second
Right.
keyboard player in different bands. And one young lady that was in the band with Chaka was Melissa Morgan,
Mm-hmm.
great R&B vocalist. She's actually on this record. She sang background with Chaka, and she got signed to Capitol Records, did her first album, went gold, the whole bit. And she invited me to play on the record. And her manager at the time, who was married to the legendary Melba Moore, he said to me, man, I didn't know you played saxophone. I thought you were a keyboard player. I'm like, no, I'm a sax and flute player. That's what I do. He said, well, I got this slot. You know, I want to sign a jazz artist. I said, okay. He said, so bring me some material. And I did that.
okay.
And the rest was history. I brought him the material. They put it out. And I didn't even realize that, it would have been so big. Because what I did was an R&B record. They called it jazz. And I'm a jazz musician. So, for me, it was R&B.
Yeah.
I was going for that audience. And 3 months, we had my first gold album. And I didn't realize what that meant, how naive I was. You know, I was signed to Capitol EMI Records, and you know when you go to Capitol Building, everybody's got a gold record. So I thought it was just a formality.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't realize
Everybody else has. It's like, yeah, whatever.
You know, I didn't realize that meant you had a real career, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm walking in airports, I'm on the front cover of Billboard, I'm on the front cover of USA Today, and I'm
Like,
I'm
who is
what
that?
you know, and people like, Najee, you know me? You know, I was totally surprised. You know, so,
You know, I gotta tell you, you're making this sound like it was awful easy.
oh, no, it was not.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh yeah, I did this and then that happened. You know, I went to USO and then Chaka
Oh,
Khan. I mean,
man.
to go on the road with Chaka Khan, that had to be a completely eye-opening experience. I mean,
It was.
Were you
It
on a
was.
bus?
who else was in the band?
Yeah, we were, at the time, Tony Maiden from Rufus was
Oh
in there.
yeah. Oh.
My brother Fareed played guitar, Gary Haas on bass, Melissa Morgan was one of,
Sure.
Vesta,
Oh.
the late Vesta, she was in the band as a background singer. So there were quite a few people. Matt Gallahan was from David Duke.
must have
Blues
been a really
Band.
big
It was
bus.
great. It was a great, yeah, it was, it was a lot of fun.
And
But
you
we
were
did a lot
how
of
old?
growing up.
How old?
At that time, I think it was 23, 24.
Oh, man.
And then there was, of course, Chaka.
Chaka, yes. Who I love dearly. I have no bad Chaka stories. I mean, I know
Any
you
funny?
want bad stories. go
Any
read them in
funny
the press.
Chaka stories?
I have some great ones, yes.
But tell us a
some
really
of them
good-
are, well, I'll give you
No,
one.
a G-rated funny
You
one.
want to hear one? First?
Yeah, a real funny one.
Well,
with Chaka.
for some reason, we had this road manager that really treated the band terribly. Right? And for whatever reasons, the band felt my brother and I could be the spokesman. We get to New Orleans one day, and Chaka knows something's going on. She calls us to the hotel room, in her room, and she says, what's going on? So we tell her the story, you know, the road manager, blah, 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 blah. Call her in here right now. She comes in. My band does not get, and I've been a road musician. You don't treat my band. We're sitting there like,
You're in big trouble, right?
almost got her fired, you know. But she was that
no.
kind of person that she really cared about the people that worked for her. You know?
Nice.
Yeah, I
Nice.
love her for that. I learned a lot from her.
She's an amazing talent.
She really is.
Absolutely amazing talent.
Very
That
nice.
had to be a great growth period for you,
It
musically.
was, and you know, because I mean, she was a legend by the time we got in the band. And when we got there, we were very green. We, you know, I mean, we were kids from New York.
Yeah.
Young kids, you know, and here we are with this legend. She just had all these all-star names with Michael Brecker and David Sam. You know, she did this live album. We're like, why are we here? You know? So, but she treated us very well. She did.
Man.
Wow.
I mean, you really have worked with an amazing roster of people.
I know.
Talk about, and it's funny how many people have actually been on the show that have worked with Prince. I mean,
Yes.
but oh my God! I mean, what is going on with this guy? He's unbelievable,
He
isn't
is. He is. He's great. Another one I never would imagine I would have ever worked with. But tell you a quick story. And some of you have heard this on the radio, but when I was living here in LA, I get this call from a rapper you all probably heard of named Dougie Fresh. And you know, he's from New York, so you know how we talk in New
Yeah.
York. He's like, yo, nah, yo.
Nah,
Naj, he called me Naj. He's
Naj,
like, yo, Naj, yo, the artist is looking for you.
the artist.
That's what he says. The artist is looking for you. I said, okay. He said, he's going to call you shortly. So I get this call about 10 minutes later from this guy. He says, Najee? I said, yeah. He says, the artist would like to speak to you. So I'm like looking at the phone like, yeah, okay, all right.
Do you know who the artist is at this point?
Right, you know, back then he wasn't using Prince. He had some problem with Warner Brothers anyway. So I said, okay. He said, he's going to call you back. Click. 5 minutes later, same guy, Najee, I have the artist on the phone. I'm like,
Wow.
okay, all right. So then he says, he gets on the phone, he says, yo, man, what's up? Now, I'm from New York, right? So I'm like, I don't know, what's up? He says, when are you and I getting together? So now you can imagine what I'm thinking at this point. I'm like, when are we getting together?
Do you know who this is by this point?
Yeah, of course.
So you know it's Prince on the
yes,
other line?
absolutely.
Okay, just
So now,
one
you know, I'm
thing.
looking at the phone, you know, wondering what kind of question is this, you know?
Trick question.
When are we getting together? I said, I don't know, you tell me. He says, what are you doing right now? I'm starting to really freak out now, right? I'm telling you.
Are you thinking musically or something else?
Well, I didn't know what to think. I mean, you know what I mean? I was a victim of the press like everybody else, right? So I said, I don't know. You tell me. He says, well, why don't you come out to Minneapolis? I'm like, when? He says, like, come out right now. I'm like,
It's gonna take.
I can't come out right now. He said, when can you come out?
Where
I'm
were
like,
you
"Well,"
in LA?
Yeah, I was in LA.
Okay.
So I said, I don't know, maybe about 4 days. He says, all right, I'll call you back. Click. So now I'm really, he just sets up this real tense atmosphere.
Yeah.
About 4 days later, I go out to Minneapolis, my brother and I. We get out there, and it ends up being a great thing. And about every night, he'll call you at 12 midnight. Somebody will call you and say, the artist would like to do a jam session at 2 a.m. You're like, really, player? We go 2 a.m., we're doing these jam sessions. After about a week, he comes to me, he says, I want you to join the MPG. I got a 2-week tour. Do this album with me, and we'll go out for 2 weeks. That ended up being 3.5 years.
Oh my goodness!
Wow.
That's great. Boy,
Nice.
he is just sick talent. Unbelievable.
Incredible.
You know what? I gotta get me a phone guy like that. I gotta get one of them guys. So, call that guy. Tell him I'm gonna be calling him. How do you put that on your
Well, you
resume?
can't- but you can't
I was
say
Prince's phone guy.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
What does that mean? Well, I'd call people up and say Prince is gonna be calling you.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Unbelievable.
artist.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
We're going to take a break and come back and let Najee do his thing here with his horn. Stick around here on Breakfast with Gary and Kelly.
All right.
Nice. That's funny. Welcome back to Breakfast with Gary and Kelly, everybody. Look, we're spending the morning here with Najee. This is just, because I just happen to have this in my hand. The
Great
morning
show.
after a musical love story, Najee's 15th CD. You need to get this. You need to do that.
You have them for sale here?
Yes, we do.
Oh, they're
Yes.
for sale here? Come on,
Exactly.
come.
And you could probably get them in Oslo, too. Hi, Oslo. But Najee, we're blowing up Oslo this morning. I don't know why. Introduce us to this gentleman over here, please.
Yes. Who's
Oh, well, this
man?
is a friend of mine I've known for many years. His name is Nick Smith. Thank you.
Yeah.
Nick, thank you for being here this morning. Thank you for being here.
And he's played with people like Larry Carlton, Stanley Clarke toured with him for many, many years. I've had the pleasure of working
Wow.
on and off with him.
So you can't hold down a job, Nick? Is that what you're saying?
No.
But he was kind enough to
Don't
come
mind
and
him.
do this for free.
Yeah, there you go. See? Okay, I'll shut up now then.
This is my brother right here.
What are you going to play for us?
We're going to do a song. Actually, I recorded a song. I studied with the legendary Jimmy Heath as a kid at Jazzmobile in New York. And one of the songs that he wrote and recorded was called Sound for Sore Ears. And I recorded it on an album called The Smooth Side of Soul.
Oh.
So we're going to play that.
All right.
Najee, everybody.
Najee.
Nick Smith.
You guys are good. Very good.
That's the real deal right there.
Wow.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
I felt like I was in a nightclub somewhere, you know?
That's terrific, man.
All I needed was the red lights and a little
stuff, man.
smoke in the room.
Good stuff. You do another one? You got another one in for us right now?
Oh, sure.
Yeah?
We'll squeeze one out.
Maybe do some flute.
Ooh, a flute.
Yeah.
I saw you on the stage at the birthday bash with
You
your
did?
flute. Yes, I did.
The world needs more
you know what?
flute, man.
I had to. There were so many great saxophone players. And I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to try to compete with all that.
Oh, man. I was walking by and I
I
thought,
think
there's a
we
man with a flute up there.
We
Look
had
at that.
Michael Lincoln. We had.
I know.
Mindy was there.
Yeah, Rick Braun, everybody.
Rick Braun, everybody.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm just.
But he had the flute, and I noticed. And I thought, there's a man up there with a flute.
Very nice. What are we going to hear, man?
We're going to do a Joe Henderson tune. This is
Nice.
called Recorded May. And I'm going to tell you a real quick story about the flute.
Please.
Ooh, yes.
When I was a kid, I was about 15, and Christmas Eve, we were rehearsing for a New Year's gig at my hometown, New York. And I grew up in Jamaica, Queens, New York, right? You know, okay.
There you go.
Funky for Jamaica, right? But anyway,
That's right.
so after the rehearsal, the guys are like, man, don't take your horns home, because, I was a little kid. And, back then we had those big coffin cases for instruments, and they were like, don't take your horns home. We don't want nothing to happen to you. So just leave them here at the rehearsal studio. And I did. Christmas Day, they come to me, they say, we got bad news for you. I'm like, what? They said, your horns were stolen. So for like a year, all I had was the flute.
Oh, well, there you go.
So here I go.
That was
There
a
you
good
go.
thing. Yeah, there you go.
Because you took the flute home.
I took the flute home.
Yeah, all right.
All right, this is recording man. Sit down.
Very nice.
Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you.
Very nice.
We're going to take a break and come back
That was
to
nice.
Najees
Very
and
nice.
Brian here on Breakfast with Gary and Kelly.
Very
Great, man. That was great.
I think they like you.
Welcome back
thank you
to
so much.
Breakfast with Gary and Kelly, everybody.
I think they like you.
We're here with
thank you.
Najee
I
and
like them.
Kelly's shoes.
My
Look
shoes.
at that. Nice.
Hey, you know.
Kelly, Najee, Kelly just got an endorsement deal with Tom McCann, so it's
Really?
really working out great.
Stop.
You want to hook a brother up or what? What's up?
Well, we can talk, you know. Yours are pretty shiny there, mister.
I know, man. You know.
Wow. But you know what? Comfort is all. It's all about
for me,
comfort.
it is.
Yeah, those look comfortable, Kelly. Those
They
really, when you think
are.
comfort, that's the kind of shoe you're talking about right there.
Stop. I have a question about your flute.
Yes.
To go from a saxophone to a flute, is it hard to switch like that as far as the notes are concerned? I mean, I'm assuming the notes will be the same, but
Yeah.
you know, the position of your fingers and how
It
you
is.
blow and all that stuff.
It is. Well, it's a different mindset. you
Okay.
know. I don't know why, but a lot of professional players have been asking me questions about flute.
Yeah?
You know, like Darren Ron and, you know.
What do they wanna know?
Huge Groove. We did a show in Atlanta a couple weeks ago. He said, man, will you give me flute lessons? I was like, really?
Flute
He
lessons.
said that. I was like,
Really?
I don't know what I would teach you, you know.
So
But,
what's the difference between like,
well, the problem we sax players face is we approach the flute like a saxophone, and it's
Okay.
really its own instrument. It's probably, for me, it's more difficult than saxophone, to be honest.
I was just gonna say, because even like, you know, where you put your hands
Yes.
and
Yeah.
it doesn't have a reed, right?
No.
Okay. I don't know these
It's a
things.
different-
I have no
different
musical
set.
bone in my
I know,
body.
I
I can't
know.
even sing. I mean, seriously. I tried to play a clarinet when I was in eighth grade, and that didn't work. So.
No, that's
Anyway.
a great thing. You playing that on Paul Brown's new one, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Great record. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a special cat.
He is. He is.
He knows what he's doing.
He came down to Florida, and I happened to be at home, and I went out and played with him. You know, just showed up. People didn't know I was coming, and we had a blast, man. It was fun.
Yeah, that's great. Let's I want to talk about another part of your career.
Uh-oh.
Your movie
No, I
career.
never worked a strip club.
Your movie career.
Oh, my
Remember
movie
this
career.
one,
Oh,
ladies and
Lord,
gentlemen? You
that
got
was-
this?
oh, no.
Oh my God! You got this deal
Oh.
What is
from
that?
1990. It's Death by Temptation.
Really?
Now, you know, for those of you who are not from New York, you know, when something was nice, you know, where I grew up, people say, yo, that was death. They say death, but it really, you know. it's
And that
just
means a
treated.
good thing.
Nice.
So
huh?
Death by Temptation was a film I did.
Oh, deaf.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well,
I thought you said deaf.
I'm in
Like,
it.
wow.
but
You play yourself, though.
I do.
What do you-
Because I don't play anything. All I do is stand there and hold the saxophone over this terrible song. You know, but I was great for the opportunity.
Did
and
you get?
The movie is great.
Are you getting royalties from this?
I don't even know, to be honest with you. I don't know.
Was it on the big
I couldn't-
screen?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
you know,
For a
it made
week,
little
maybe?
Thing, yeah, for a little while.
You'll
I
be-
think it's out on DVD. People buy it.
Who was the big star in that
But the
one?
big star ended up being Samuel Jackson, and I think
Yeah, he
Kadeem
wasn't at the
Hardison
time.
was
Yeah,
in it,
yeah,
and,
yeah.
there
Yeah,
were quite a
Kadeem
few other
Hardison
people
was
in
great.
it.
How'd you get that gig?
You know, I don't even remember, other than my manager, you know, who was
Okay.
really a brilliant marketer at that time. He said, "Go do this movie." I'm like, "Okay."
Okay.
And I
You
didn't
know,
what to expect.
you'll be really happy to know we have a clip.
We do.
Oh, you're gonna do this to me,
Check
Garrett.
it out. Check it out. This is Death
Oh,
by
this is horrible.
Temptation.
Are we playing it?
Look, now when she drinks that holy water, she's gonna start slobbering and farting and gagging.
Just like this.
Nice, huh?
Well, I was in a Robert De Niro film. I was in
There you go. Is that right?
Yeah, my
there
part
you
could
go.
make
That's a
cut,
real
but-
movie.
I was in one.
What did
That's
you
a
do
real
on that
movie.
movie?
I played, it was directed by the legendary Erwin Winkler. And, you know, he was a Dexter Gordon fan. He loved Dexter Gordon at the time. Dexter had just passed on. And he asked me to play a jazz standard of Dexter Gordon's in this movie called Guilty by Suspicion.
Nice.
And I played my part, and I went to the movies, and I was terribly hurt that I didn't see my part in it.
Oh, did you get cut out?
I was big cut out, man.
Well, I see a theme go: death by temptation,
Guilty, oh,
guilty
oh.
by
Suspicion?
Suspicion.
Oh, that's
What do you think the
terrible.
next one's going to be?
I don't know. I have no.
Let's
I've
make
noticed.
it a happy one.
Well, that was the end of my Hollywood career. As we.
Well, we can make a couple of phone calls and happy with joy.
Well,
you
yeah.
know?
There you go.
Well, wait a minute. Maybe not.
But we.
Well, good.
Can we talk a little bit about this, your 15th CD? It's a great one, and one of the things I know you touch on is a tribute to the late great George Duke.
George Duke,
My
yes.
goodness, what a
Yes,
tell
he
us,
was.
what do we need to know and remember about George Duke?
I think he was one of the greatest legends of our time.
Yeah.
But the world has, for some reason, overlooked that. I don't know. I hope that one day maybe the smooth jazz industry will develop its own need or urgency for preserving some of the history of some of the great people, such as he himself, Al Jarreau, all bunch of legends. But here's a man who went between jazz, classical, and R&B, and had so many great hits, working with so many great artists, from Jeffrey Osborne to Denise Williams to Diane Reeves, Rochelle Farrell, and many others.
Zappa.
Yes. Right, Frank
Yeah,
Zappa. He started with Frank
goodness
Zappa. He
gracious.
played
Yeah.
with Miles Davis, Cannonball Adderley, the great Al Jarreau. And
Yeah.
I was very fortunate to have him produce a couple of my CDs as well. Song from the Key of Life, which was a special project, my last album on Capitol EMI, and he brought in all the original members of Stevie Wonder's.
Oh, is it
who
right?
played-
I
who
wasn't
played in
aware of
Red.
that. Oh,
yeah,
my goodness.
so we had, we had Ndugu Chancellor, we had Herbie Hancock come in and play.
Nice.
Stanley Clark and Michael Cimbello on guitar. It was just a great project.
Dude, what kind of pressure is that when you get those kids?
Well,
that played
I'm sitting there like, I can't believe these guys are playing for me. Herbie Hancock, I'm sitting there, the very first time I ever played with him, he came to I'm hiring this guy. And he was in Europe, so we couldn't get hold of him. And George says to me, he says, listen, man, we're going to have Herbie come in and play. I'm like, why we need Herbie? We got you,
Yeah, really?
But he said, no, you're going to want Herbie on this. So about
Well,
2
he
weeks, we
knows
couldn't
what he's
find him.
doing.
Couldn't find him. As fate would have it, I'm walking on a flight in New York to come out here, and who's sitting right there in the first seat when I walk on the
Oh,
plane?
you're kidding me.
Herbie. And I walk up, I'm like, man, you playing on my record or what?
Oh my God. Well,
And, and all the people are looking at him like,
Really?
playing this guy's record or what?
Yeah, what are you doing?
So he said, man, I'm sorry, I've been in Europe, I was touring, but I'm going to come in tomorrow. So anyway, the session is set for 2 p.m. in the afternoon. George and I are there. Herbie shows up 2 a.m. the next morning.
Well, he got
Places-
the 2 o'clock, right?
He got the 2 great.
Yeah.
Places the bottle of cognac on the piano, starts playing the track, and I'm listening, and I'm like, and George could see the concern on my face, because Herbie is such an advanced musician. Any musician that plays with Herbie, you can never have a bad note, because wherever you are, he's going to find the chord to support you. So you're going to sound great. On this particular date, he's there, he's playing, and I'm like, wow, man, this is so harmonically advanced. I don't see how we could use it. So George is like, don't worry about it, man, I got you. We're going to use my track, but we're going to use his solo. And it was an amazing solo. And so that's how we got him on the record, But George was that kind of guy. You could just make a call and people show up. The very first time I played with Quincy was because of George. Yeah, he brought me over to Montreux, Switzerland.
We were in talks with George to have him on our show.
Great man.
Yeah, and it was
no
just
doubt.
like, oh.
No doubt.
So-
The thing the release that they put out, he and Jarreau,
Yes.
those tapes from back in the day in San Francisco when they were just playing that little
Wow.
club gig.
Yes.
Have you heard it?
I haven't
It's
heard it yet. I heard about it, though.
Phenomenal.
He just
it's so
released
fun.
them.
It's so fun. It was just, he had a reel-to-reel running under a piano in this little club. And
Really?
this is, and it's like 67 or something. They're just like.
Fillmore.
You can hear him
Fillmore
laughing
East,
in the
right?
background.
This is in some little nightclub where they had a regular gig, and they were just recording them, and he found these reel-to-reel tapes.
Oh, that's
And they
wonderful.
cleaned them up and put it out. It is just magic. It's just, and it's music, and then it's them talking about, remember what was going on then?
Laughing
it's
and
just,
joking on.
It's this piece of history.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Yeah, it's unbelievable. Great. Talk about Quincy. My goodness. There's
Quincy
the
Jones.
Forrest Gump of music. The guy's everywhere.
He's so much fun. He's so much fun. I remember the very first time I worked with him was in Montreux, and I don't remember the year. It was in the late '90s, and I was so nervous.
Of course.
So I get over there, and I'm thinking, he's going to have me do like smooth jazz, contemporary jazz stuff. He pulls out a straight ahead chart. He says, "This is the song you're playing." And he pairs me up with, I think it was George Duke, Ron Carter, Toots Steelman, the harmonica player, and I forget who was on drums. And we're playing straight ahead. And I was honored that he thought enough of me to do that because, you know, I mean, I thought he was just going to have me come over and do what, you know, we normally do.
Yeah.
But no, he featured me on traditional jazz stuff, which was nice. To be paired up with Ron Carter, you know, and people like that was amazing to me.
Crazy, just crazy.
Larger
Well,
than life.
Nice man.
I want to hear about the real quick story when you had your first CD out.
Oh, yes.
Where were you when you heard it on the radio?
I'll never forget it. I was, at the time, my girlfriend at the time, we were riding home, and in New York, there was a station called WBLS 107.5 WBLS.
Hey, you got a good radio voice.
Everybody wants the really cool gig in the radio. That's
Well, and we were driving, it was, you know, it had the Quiet Storm format, which was a late night radio thing, and, you know, we had a very famous on-air jock named Vaughn Harper, so he had a signature voice.
Oh, yeah.
And next thing he goes, he says, we have Najee playing Sweet Love.
And you heard this?
Oh my God, I almost fell out. I mean, it was just amazing to me, you know? Here I am hearing myself on the radio under my own name. I've had played with other artists,
right.
But, you know, I was like, wow.
What'd your girlfriend say?
Oh, I think she was probably counting the checks, but see if I can get my hooks in this guy for real. Of course, he's no longer around.
Oh, you're silly.
So here, let me ask you. So what's the answer for the music business now? I mean, what's going to happen? I mean, is everybody there's no money anymore? It's just what are you going to do? Just
They're not in it for the money, Gary. Don't you know
right.
that?
Well, you got to pay your bills. You got to eat. You know what?
Well,
it's crazy, isn't it?
It is. It's a different game now. You know, I mean, when I started, I was fortunate that the timing was just right for me. You know, and many other artists. I mean, that was when record companies actually spent money on the artists, and I came up in the big machine.
So
you know, I hear artists today, and no disrespect to any of them, but you know, I hear they sell 5,000 to 10,000 copies, and that's like a very successful record now. And you know, I came from the machine where you were selling that per week. You know, and so for me, it's a different mindset. But I think where the industry is going, honestly, we see the downside. We have to get out of the mindset that CDs are going to be around. I think the format is changing.
Yeah.
People are more single-oriented. Digital downloads are going to be the reality of the future, you know. And the problem, I think, if you don't mind me mentioning the problems in the smooth jazz industry, is that unfortunately, I think the audience doesn't feel like they're connected to a star. You know, if you understand what I mean. They know the names, but a lot of times in their minds, there's no visible or person that face. You know. So I think the only way to solve that, I think the social media outlet is a great opportunity that I think will expand and help artists to become more visible.
That's why we have artists on our stage, because this is an intimate setting.
And you don't know how much we appreciate you. You have sustained us. I really appreciate you.
That's really nice.
You know? Thank you. We're going to try to keep the train rolling, you know?
Man.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Yes,
well, I mean, you know, people always are going to need music. So, I mean, somebody, you know, one way or the other.
It's going to come
and
through.
I'm thinking, the guy like you, you know, if the checks aren't coming in, you're still going to be standing on the street corner playing this thing. I hope, because
I hope not.
I know I'll be standing someplace going, so yeah, traffic and weather next. You know, it's whatever, whatever.
I have a son in college. I tell you, it's like taking on another mortgage. I'm going to have to play on the street for a long time.
There you go. We're going to take a break. This is going so fast. It's unbelievable. We're going to take a break. Come back a little bit more with Najee. Stick around here on Breakfast with Gary and Kelly. Welcome back to Breakfast with Gary and Kelly, everybody. This has been a real special morning.
Very
Really
special.
special morning.
Thank you so
And Nick, thanks again too for joining us here, making this a little bit better. This
You like our piano?
This is great
I
stuff.
love it. I love it.
Yeah, man. Well, you can make it sound great. There's no question about that.
Thank you so much.
What are you going to do for us?
Well, we're going to do Spain. We're going to do something. I haven't recorded this other than live, but
Oh, nice.
yeah. Since we have Nick here, I'm going to utilize him because he's
Good.
As well you should.
right.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, everybody.
All right, Najee.
Najee.
Oh. Okay, thank you.
Najee, this has just been so
Thank you,
wonderful,
sweetheart.
man.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Thank you, my friend.
Thank
so
you so
much.
much.
Love it.
Take a bow.
Here's the latest one, The Morning After a Musical Love Story. Thanks, everybody. The great Najee. Appreciate it. We'll catch you next time on Breakfast with Gary and Kelly. Wow, wow, wow.
Wow.